Every morning, before the sun came up, the old man walked slowly to the front door. His steps were careful, his knees hurt, his back felt stiff. But he never skipped this walk, not even once. He opened the door just a little. Cold air touched his face. The street was quiet. No cars, no voices, just silence. And there they were. A pair of shoes, clean, polished, brown leather, slightly worn at the heels. They were not his shoes. They were his son's shoes. He looked at them the same way every day. His eyes stayed on them for a long time. Sometimes his lips moved, but no sound came out. Sometimes his eyes filled with tears, but he did not wipe them right away. He believed the shoes meant something. He believed they were a promise. The house behind him was old and small. It had only 2 bedrooms. One was his. The other had been empty for years. He kept it clean anyway. The bed was made. The window was washed. The closet still held clothes that no longer fit anyone living there. His son's room. The old man's name was Thomas. He was 76 years old. His hair was thin and white. His hands shook when he held small things. But his memory was sharp when it came to one thing: the day his son left. That morning lived inside him like it had just happened. The argument, the loud voices, the words that should never have been said. Thomas closed the door gently and locked it. He picked up the shoes and placed them neatly by the wall inside the house. The same place. Always the same place. Then he went to the kitchen and made coffee. 1 cup. He used to make 2. Years ago, the house used to feel alive. There was laughter, loud music, doors opening and closing. A young man moving too fast, always late, always dreaming. His son's name was Daniel. Daniel had big plans. He talked about leaving town, about finding something more, about not becoming stuck. Thomas listened, but he did not always understand. Thomas had worked in the same factory for 40 years. Same hours, same road, same life. He believed in staying, in building something slowly, in being safe. Daniel believed in going. They were both good men, but they spoke different languages. That morning, Daniel had stood by the door, shoes on, bag over his shoulder. His eyes were bright but tired. "I can't stay here forever," Daniel said. Thomas was tired too. Tired from work, tired from worry, tired from fear. "This town gave you everything," Thomas said. "You're throwing it away." Daniel shook his head. "You don't understand." Thomas felt something sharp in his chest. He felt small. He felt afraid of being alone. So he said the wrong thing.
He said the wrong thing. "If you walk out that door," Thomas said, "don't come back." The words fell heavy into the room. Daniel froze. Slowly, he took off his shoes. He placed them neatly by the door. "Then keep these," Daniel said quietly, "so you remember me." He opened the door and left. Thomas did not stop him. That was the last time Thomas saw his son. The coffee sat untouched on the table. Thomas stared at the wall. The ticking clock filled the room. After Daniel left, the house changed. The walls felt closer. The air felt heavier. The nights felt longer. Thomas told himself his son would call. He told himself Daniel just needed time. A few weeks, a few months. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months passed. No call. Thomas grew angry, then proud, then afraid. He checked the mailbox every day. He answered the phone on the first ring. He watched the news, hoping not to see his son's face for the wrong reason. At night, he lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Sometimes he imagined Daniel walking back in. Sometimes he practiced what he would say. But time kept moving.
Then one winter, a letter came. Not from Daniel, from the police. There had been an accident. A car, a wet road, a young man driving too fast. Daniel was gone. Thomas sat on the floor with the letter in his hands. He did not cry at first. He felt empty. Later, the tears came. They came hard and loud and endless. They came with regret, with guilt, with words he could never take back. At the funeral, Thomas stood alone. He wanted to speak. He wanted to apologize. He wanted to say everything he never said. But Daniel could not hear him anymore. Thomas brought the shoes home that day. He placed them by the door, and they stayed there. Years passed. Friends stopped visiting. They did not know what to say. Thomas did not know how to explain his pain. The shoes became part of his life. He cleaned them once a week. He polished them carefully. He made sure they stayed perfect. Sometimes, at night, Thomas thought he heard footsteps. Sometimes he thought he heard the door open. Once he even called out Daniel's name. No answer ever came. Still, every morning Thomas checked the door. Still, every night he placed the shoes back in their spot. They were his way of holding on, his way of saying sorry. One evening, there was a knock. Thomas was not expecting anyone. He moved slowly to the door. His heart beat faster than usual. He opened it. A young woman stood outside. She looked nervous. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes were kind. "Are you Thomas Miller?" she asked. "Yes," he said softly. "My name is Emily," she said. I knew your son." The world seemed to stop. Thomas stepped aside and let her in. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Thomas drank his coffee alone every morning. Emily looked at the shoes by the door. She swallowed hard. "He talked about you," she said, "all the time." Thomas closed his eyes. "He never stopped loving you," Emily continued. "He carried guilt, too. He wanted to come back." Thomas's chest hurt. "He wrote letters," she said, "but he never sent them. He was scared." She reached into her bag and placed something on the table. Letters. Daniel's handwriting. Thomas touched them like they might disappear. "I found these after he passed," Emily said. "I waited a long time to come. I didn't know how." Thomas opened the first letter. The words blurred through tears. "I'm sorry, Dad. I miss you. I wish I had stayed longer. I wish I had said goodbye better." Thomas cried like he had never cried before. The shoes by the door had waited for years, but Daniel had never stopped trying to come home. That night, Thomas did something different. He picked up the shoes, he held them close, and then, gently, he placed them in Daniel's room, not by the door, but beside the bed. The next morning, Thomas opened the front door. There were no shoes outside, and for the first time in years, he smiled through his tears.
Some promises do not mean someone will return. Some promises mean love never leaves.